you know,
Lose
it comes and
sometimes.
goes.
Tell me what I can do.
What I'm interested in, I obviously I want to talk about the year. The
Yeah,
first question I have to ask you is, uh, you agreed last winter to come back as
yeah,
president while the trustees and the administration decided how to proceed into the future and come up with a
yeah.
plan. If you'd seen COVID coming, would you agree to come back?
uh, you know, if I had been asked during that, I probably would have. It's and I think in fairness to the board and the campus, they probably would have acted during this time. But so if you think about it, I came back in July of 19, and they basically, after a month or so, said, let's sort of get everything settled down through the fall term. So that was fine. And then January 20th, we hit COVID. That was our first sit down meeting dealing with COVID, January the 20th. And so my guess is it, whatever plans anybody had sort of got thrown out of the window with the COVID situation.
Sure. Now, I know you all began prepping and or planning in earnest in what mid to late January, just in case COVID did in fact become a big
Yeah,
public health issue, so that by the time mid March came around, you all were pretty well ready for it. Tell me a little bit about the decision to just to go ahead and tell the students not to come back from spring break and flipping everything over to online to get through the
yeah.
semester.
Well, the sort of the role that I took was probably we got together in late January, and probably about early February. I sort of wanted to charge the group that was doing most of the thinking about COVID. We were learning stuff every day, but we laid out three principles, and people have heard them till they're tired of them. But they're sort of they are the things we're about. Number one is health and safety of our students and our employees and staff. So safety is absolutely critical. Second thing is you want to continue to carry out the mission of the university. Very easy, just close the door, send everybody home, and be safe, but you can't carry out the mission of the university. So we want to be safe, want to carry out the mission. And the third element was we're going to have to make a lot of decisions and a lot of changes from existing policies and procedures in the university. So let's involve the internal governance groups. So those are the individuals that are elected by their peers. So that means the University Senate, which is primarily the faculty of the university that their peers have elected, the student body leadership, the staff council leadership, and what we call the administrative and professional assembly. So you want to be safe, you want to carry out the mission, and you want to vet your changes with those groups where they're a part of the decision-making process. So that's sort of the way we approached it. We broke for spring break, and it was very clear that some schools were having difficulty. Medical advice that was the driver in all this said, do not bring them back. And so we followed that advice, and I have to give faculty incredible kudos for being able to make that kind of conversion. I've heard the provost say that a large percent, I may get the number wrong, but maybe 80%, 75% of our people had never taught remotely before. And for them to, I didn't think it would go as smooth as it did, and I'm not implying it went perfect, so don't believe that, but it went far better than I would have guessed as an old guy with not very much computer skills. And so that was sort of, so we moved in March, and we sort of, it's working, and Zoom is working, and people are not just going off, absolutely going home and quitting and dropping out of school. So that sort of was encouraged. Then we said, summer school is going to be way down. We're going to be in trouble in the summer. So they began planning, trying to look at options for the summer, made the decision that the long course of the summer would be remote. The first 5-week summer section would be remote. But the second 5-week, we would try out some new ways to deliver in the
Sure.
fall. So they got a little experience with a couple thousand students that would have been in that section. And they then obviously tried those 4 different modalities as we went into the fall. And we're all surprised we were able to hold our enrollments for the summer and for the fall in terms of what you read and see at a lot of places where the enrollments were way down. So felt good about it.
Yeah, I mean, I have to, I talked to a lot of faculty members and staff and administrators just over the course of covering the campus.
Sure.
And I'd say everybody I talked to was really impressed that you guys were able to keep things going, that the online, the remote learning went as smoothly as it did. I mean, it wasn't ideal. I don't think anybody particularly liked it, but it worked. So that seemed to be the consensus.
Well, we learned a lot too. And like I say, some faculty were very skilled at doing this. And so I'm sure it was easier for them, but they also helped their colleagues. But this fall, I taught a course, and I taught what they call blended course, which means I taught live one time, the next one is remote, live, remote, so forth. And I'm not so sure that the kids didn't enjoy the remote part more than they enjoyed the live part. We were able to bring in some guest speakers from all over the country to talk to the group, and that's a nice break from just the same person every time. And so, I thought that was there's some benefits that I would argue in the way I teach my class that I learned by doing it partially remote. Had a student or two in Atlanta that really could not have come to campus to take it, and if it were going to be live every time. So anyway, worked pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed to. I know, I did a piece over the summer where I just followed up with some tenured faculty who all, I mean, we all get used to doing our jobs a certain way, and they had adjustments to make on their end, but they said, really, the university couldn't have made it easier for them to do it.
Well, one of the things that I think helped a little bit, and it's not that we were smart in doing this, but our state really didn't just completely require the universities to close the doors and lock down.
Right.
And in fairness, some of our colleagues at other universities, the state laws or rules were much more restrictive in terms of what they could do. I mean, some of the schools that we heard, they literally closed up, euthanized their animals, and went home. Yeah. So, so pretty tough. And I don't remember the exact numbers, but our research new awards were up like $60 million this year. And part of that is because, we went remote back in March, but faculty still were able to write grants and contracts and continue to do their work. And many graduate students still continue to come to their labs. And so we had a tremendous year in research, which most of us, again, wondered how it would be with all the closures and all the disruption.